Welcome to Late Night News in the Warrens, the fake fantasy news show you didn't know you needed. Tonight is our special KoboldCon 2025 broadcast, where I've read none of the script in advance and will read whatever comes across this teleprompter. I'm Dot, your guide through this recap of all the biggest reveals, the most dramatic dice rolls, and at least one incident involving a bard, a sentient wheel of cheese, and a legally binding marriage contract. But first, a word from our sponsors. Late Night News in the Warrens is brought to you by Wolfgang Bites, the kobold shaped snack engineered for peak TTRPG snacking performance. Try them in nacho cheese, sour cream, or the all new Grimdark flavor, which, to be clear, is just charcoal and regret, but it tastes like emotional damage. Wolfgang Bites, the only snack legally classified as both food and an encounter. Now let's get back to the news. Thanks, Dot, and thank you for joining me. It's been a busy KoboldCon with big reveals, live play events, and tons of dramatic dice rolling. We had a diverse crowd at the con, including the rules lawyers, who have spent the weekend aggressively citing page numbers at the GMs like medieval sorcerers reciting forbidden incantations, murder hobos, who understand that every problem is just a future corpse waiting to happen, chaos gremlins, who give 5 seconds and a bad enough idea will absolutely end a campaign before it starts. You theater kids out there, we see you, who started the battle with a monologue and haven't stopped since. And at least one guy who should absolutely never be allowed to play an evil character. You know who you are, Barry. KoboldCon, bringing people together to immediately betray each other for loot. We had some expectations for this convention. Those expectations were violently suplexed through the table by the end of day one. But let's begin with a recap of the showcase event. First up was Necromancer, an exciting card game where you play rival necromancers, digging up new friends and unleashing them on your foes. In a lighthearted way. Yes, because when you think of lighthearted fun, the first place your mind should go is power hungry death wizards reanimating corpses. But did I mention this is Kobold Press's first card game? For years, we've been known for incredibly detailed role playing books, massive bestiaries, and game rules unencumbered by oppressive corporate overlords. Now, card games. Some people have said it's a bit like a chef saying, sure, I'm proud of my Michelin star restaurant, but let's talk about my new line of canned hot dog water. If you love outwitting, outmaneuvering, and absolutely ruining your friendships in a blaze of necromantic glory, then this is the card game for you. Get Necromancer now on the Kobold Press store. Next, we unveiled the Book of Blades, an expansion for Tales of the Valiant, and a long overdue apology to every martial character who's been shown up by a wizard. We see you. We know your pain. This book gives new subclasses, talents, items, weapon options, and single combat rules for every blade swinger who is done watching spellcasters steal the spotlights with their fancy tricks. This book says enough. Martial characters, your time has come. Spellcasters, your smug reign of terror is over. Enjoy your healing spells and fireballs while you can, because now there's a barbarian coming at you with a sword that is also a meteor. It's about frickin' time. Last in our showcase recap, we announced a return to the North. Well, the Northlands, a new setting book about one of the major food groups of fantasy novels and TTRPGs Vikings. We last visited the home of these Reavers back in 2011, and then as part of the World Book in 2018. Why go back to the Northlands? Well, we had a different project lined up, but then this really big guy named Sven Bollock Smasher had a closed door meeting with Wolfgang Bauer, and we pivoted to the Northlands. Coincidence? I think not. So we put our newest kobold, Brian Susskind, on Northlands as lead designer. Now, Brian's been threatened multiple times not to include any mimics in it. Will Brian listen? We'll have to wait and see. Northland promises to have everything you need to create and run epic Viking campaigns with new subclasses, monsters, spells, reaving downtime rules, prophecy generators, and more. And if you think more is sort of vague, well, then congratulations. You've passed your saving throw against our marketing team. Northlands is going to be paired with Northland Sagas, Kobold Press's first full adventure path taking characters from level 1 to level 12 as they work with the god Loki to prevent Ragnarok. Do you like reavers, longships, ancient gods, fighting giants, and manipulating gods? Do you like big wolves and you cannot lie? Then let's return to the Northlands. Because Sven said so. Oh, pause for commercial break. Welcome back. Moving on to our main stories, the team from Do You Validate Studios got to sit down and unbox and play Necromancer for the first time. The session went great, everyone had an amazing time, and the medics assured me that the team will recover in time. After the live play, we got a peek behind Necromancer with Jeff and Stan. I know, just hearing the names Jeff and Stan makes you think of accountants more than powerful necromancers. But Jeff and Stan aren't done. They immediately followed by announcing their next big card game. Accountants, a fast paced game where players audit rival firms, sharpen pencils, and file reports on their way to financial supremacy. Terrifying and strangely relevant. Next on our recap list is a game type that's more controversial than it should be. Cozy RPGs. Yes, Kobold Press, the company with so many monsters that even H.P. Lovecraft would say, dude, whoa, is now venturing into the world of taking animals or talking animals in waistcoats. Riverbank was created by legendary Kij Johnson, a game designer so brilliant that I'm legally required to be intimidated. I am. Our Riverbank panel was amazing, delving deep into the lore and mechanics of the cozy RPG. If you missed it, Riverbank is a game about social interactions, low stakes chaos, and having emotionally fulfilling conversations in the English countryside. It is, to put simply, a game designed to make murder hobos break out into hives. But let's face it, sometimes you don't want the answer in every game to be I hit it. Sometimes you want to play characters who don't have an emotional range, who don't have the emotional range of a microwave. Sometimes you just want to be polite hedgehog wearing a little hat having a minor disagreement with a badger about scone etiquette. With Riverbank, Kij Johnson proves you can create evocative character driven games and speak in full sentences without casting Fireball. Oh. Ah. The results of organized play are just in. All weekend long, we hosted Tales of the Valiant Games, which produced more fun and chaos than 15 toddlers with air horns at a wedding. I haven't checked the math on these, but we have some stats to share. 10,192 monsters were slain, including 9 seduced, which, to be clear, was entirely consensual. 53 characters died heroically, while 250 died not so heroically. 3 characters met deadly ironic ends, including a rogue who died after saying, I stuck my head in it, a wizard who exploded due to math-related hubris, and a bard who died trying to distract the enemy with an interpretive dance. One game outlawed pants, something about pants being a crime against leg freedom. Over 50 natural 20s were rolled, sparking 8 over-the-top victory dances. 45 natural 1s were rolled, resulting in 15 actual tears. 72 dice of various types were thrown across the room in frustration. 2,378 bags of chips were consumed, over 900 energy drinks were downed, 100 of them by the same player, causing her to instantly ascend into an energy-based life form. In the final tally, games were played, dice were rolled, players had fun, and the average sanity level of our game masters dropped by an estimated 27%. But those GMs know what they did. Our next recap is a reveal on Steamforged Games and the TOV starter box. This report is sponsored by Zach Newpill. Yes, Zach, the community and social media manager for Kobold Press. So remember, if you ever want to have a game con with 25 interwoven plot lines spread across 150 game tables, ask Zach. Steamforged Games has long dominated the boxed encounter RPG market with their Epic Encounter line. Now, with the Tales of the Valiant starter box, you can get everything you need to embark on a thrilling, monster-slaying, dice-chunking Tales of the Valiant adventure. This box has it all. You get character sheets, miniatures, battle maps, 2 adventures, dice you will become irrationally attached to, and perhaps even an emotional support pamphlet for when your first character inevitably dies in an embarrassing way. The Tales of the Valiant starter box is designed to ease you into TTRPGs, but you must remember one thing. As with all TTRPG products, the Steamforged TOV starter box can't prevent the unbridled chaos that characters will unleash, such as demanding a charisma roll to seduce an ancient stone construct. For that, Steamforged will have released something like Epic Seductions, the box set. Now, with a consent generator and embossed X card. But next on the recap is Monster Vault 2. Monsters, those pesky, hungry, world dominating foes that hang out near the treasure our characters want to grab their grummy mitts. Monster Vault 2 is the sequel to Monster Vault, which itself was a sequel to your GM getting super frustrated after you memorized all the familiar monsters. Fans are going to lose their minds over Monster Vault 2, and by minds I mean characters because these new foes are absolutely brutal. If the first Monster Vault gave you plenty of ways to die, then Monster Vault 2 is saying, hold my beer. This tome of character destroying awesomeness is edited by our own Megan. And at this point, she's tinkered with more characters than evolution itself. She's been dubbed the Monarch of Monsters, which is honestly far too mild a title. If you personally work on 2,797 monsters for Kobold Press, you are no longer an editor. You are a divine entity feared across time and space. So, if your adventuring party thought they were safe, bad news. Megan has 318 reasons why that is wrong. Next on our recap roundup is the TOV actual play. In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they did not commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survived as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can. Wait. What's that? Oh. I'm being told that was the opening to the A Team, which ran on NBC from 1983 to 1987. In the actual TOV actual play, GM Cujo guided the players through a journey in Aoria. The land is in peril, and the Valiant Six have disappeared. As the realm slipped further into chaos, four PCs banded together to fight against the darkness that threatened to swallow the land. If you watched it, congratulations. You're safe. If you didn't, well, let's just say that the Divines are watching and they are deeply, deeply disappointed in you. You see, this game took place in Eoria, where the Divine, erased their names from history because names have power, which is amazing and terrifying. Because if all powerful divine beings is sacred of someone learning their name, what chance do PCs have? But if you watched it, then you already know. If you didn't watch, well, then maybe it's time to say a prayer to she who grants second chances. Or you can get out there and watch it now. Well, go on. We'll wait. Go on. Okay, now that they're gone, let's hit our final story. Sunday, tomorrow, is the last day of Kobold Con, which means a last slate of organized play events to get a few final bits of chaos. Also, we have the Let's Quest charity actual play to benefit Let's Quest Game Scholarship. It's like donating money to make a wizard cry. Finally, we'll have the closing ceremonies, which, if previous years are any indication, involve big giveaways, highlights from the weekend, and one lucky kobold fan will be crowned prom king by our kendo, followed by 15 minutes of interpretive dance performed by someone in a gelatinous cube costume. And look, I could go on, but the point is this. Kobold Con was insanely wonderful and exactly what we needed right now. So if you think all of this sounds ridiculous, just wait until next year's Kobold Con when someone will inevitably roleplay a sentient baguette and will somehow save the world. Well, that is our show for tonight. So thank you, Kobold fans, and thank you, Kobold Con. I'm Dot, and on behalf of all of us in the Warrens, good night.